Well, Grand Rising, everybody, and I'm so grateful to have you here. This is Jodi Suson, Self Care, and today I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Arndreya Price. She is the CEO of Like No Other, LNO, and Arndreya is recognized as one of the world's most progressive and insightful lifestyle brand luminaries. And her mission is to help people feel beautiful and valued. Um, and it's really interesting. I'm gonna let her share about this, but she battled with body images, and since she was a child, and a lot of people struggle with body image. I was not one of those people. I was like this skinny little thing, but my sister struggled with body images, and I always kept on telling her, "You're not your body. You are the soul. You are the beautiful soul within." And then of course I became obese, and I still didn't care. So so um, anyways, I'm going to let Arndreya come on and share her story, and you get to all delight in the beautiful queen that she is. All right. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. Good morning, Jodi. How are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am phenomenal. I woke up a little bit late, but everything is perfect and it's a great day. So I am phenomenal. Thank you.
Divine timing. That's what I always say, right?
Yes.
And this is Thanksgiving week, so so as far as part of what we're going to talk about with you, I'd love to also, we didn't talk about this, but I'd love to hear from you. And if you don't have a story around it, that's okay, because if you didn't prep for that, because if not, I have one.
Okay.
The power of gratitude in manifesting what you created, your empire.
I honestly believe that when you love something and you respect it and honor it, to me that's exactly what gratitude is
Mhm.
when you get what you want. If you're always downing the thing, if you're always speaking negatively towards the thing, you're not going to get what you want because you're not honoring or respecting it. So it's like, why would something that you keep disrespecting, why would it give you what you want? It doesn't make sense.
No, that's a beautiful. Yeah, I love that concept. If you're going to disrespect what you want, why is it going to give you more? Other than more disrespect, right?
Well, yeah,
Because it's a law of
absolutely.
attraction, the law of attraction. But before we get into that, tell people, if you don't mind, your story and how you got started with LNO, like no other. And what is like no other? Talk about that as well.
Okay, so I got started with Like No Other in when did I get started? It hasn't actually been that long. It hasn't even been a full well, it has been a full year, but the whole brand of Like No Other is basically a foundation of multiple businesses. But right now, it stands for Like No Other Greek, in which I sell Greek apparel for women in Divine Nine sororities, which we will be expanding to other sororities, and then Like No Other Lifestyle, in which I show you how to live a lifestyle that is like no other, and coaching you kind of through mindset. Because to me, nothing can occur until your mindset changes and shifts. I feel like there are already enough things like weight loss coaches, business coaches, but there are not a lot of mindset coaches. And that's the biggest thing. Like, if you don't get your mindset right, you could go to every trainer in America, maybe in the world, but if you don't get your mindset right, it doesn't matter. So you have to get your mindset right in order to get the life that is like no other.
So I so agree. I teach mindset. So I mean, um, and I do that not only through decades of training, right? But the cherry on the cake, or the topping on the cake, or the whipped cream on the cake, or whatever you want to call it, in the sayings. Um, was when I stepped into being a medical intuitive, because then I could go into the realm of what was the person. Sometimes people don't understand their mindset and they don't know where it's coming from. Where do the program beliefs come from? Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm able to tap into, well, you got that first of all, that program belief is not even yours. It was handed down to you, right? So you can choose whether or not you want to keep it or not, just like
Absolutely.
so. And we have Teddy on this morning. Say, she says, "Good day, Susan Essentials. I'm grateful to be here to absorb your wisdom, to you and all." Teddy, I'm always so grateful that you are here and showing up on the show. I love you, sister. And what else does she have to say? Oh, she says, I have a friend who has suffered from body dysmorphia. I'll go let her know this conversation is happening. Awesome, Teddy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about so talk about the creation. Like, how did you come up with the idea?
So actually, the idea it sprang up when I was when did it spring up? It sprung up when I was actually working as a federal employee. I was just like, well, what is a brand that I would like? And my last name is Price, but hopefully not forever because I plan to get married one day. And so at first I was thinking like priceless, I kept going back and forth. And then I was like, well, like no other kind of rings a bell to me because one, I believe that everyone is different and I believe that everyone, no matter what you look like, no matter like where you are, you're like no other. But being like no other is an amazing thing because you are who you are. And God made each and every one of us special. So to me, like no other just was like, okay, that's the brand. And I knew that I would always have multiple businesses. So I wanted my business name to be able to span over other businesses and make sense. So I didn't want to be like, okay, Andrea's Party Creations or something, something that would be
Mhm.
very generic. And so to me, it was kind of like a divine knowing when I heard that name, I was like, that's the brand name right there.
And I love that, the like no other, because one of the things I used to coach this one doctor, and he, at the point in time, he had a thriving practice, but he was very capable. So he was not only a chiropractor, but he was an acupuncturist, he was a massage therapist, he was a hypnotist, he did applied kinesiology, he did AK chronic, he like the list kept.
Wow. Okay.
And so and he is like no other, but he wanted everybody to come to him, and was afraid. He had a fear that the money and the attention was going to go somewhere else. And I said, but whoever's meant to come to you is going to come to you, right? Because once you
Hmm.
step into your greatness, you automatically attract the people that you're supposed to attract at that point in time.
Hmm.
Um, it didn't ever really sink in.
That's okay. Well, no, it just hasn't sunk in yet.
Yet, right? The word yet. Thank you. Right? It didn't sink in yet. Because I said to him, I said, you're amazingly unique. And I said, and you're not supposed to be like anybody else. You're supposed to be you. And there was this constant need to fit in and do it all. I'm like, well, but you're not supposed to do it all. We're supposed to be in community. So, and yeah, those are supposed to's and shoulds, but those are, in my opinion, shoulds that will empower people. We can have very disempowering shoulds. I'm sure you agree. Um, but to encourage people to love together, live together, commune together. And I think that is a powerful place, right? When we can do
Hmm.
that in harmony.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, but these are things that we just said, these things are ingrained in us from birth. So, I mean, I don't know how old he was or is, but you're combating things that he's probably learned over at least 25, 30 years.
And he at the time was 32. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, talk about, I mean, um, I want to really have people hear how you went from corporate America or government America, really, um,
Yeah.
to self-employed. I've never met any self-employed person who hasn't met resistance from family or friends, everyone telling you what to do, and that, oh, you shouldn't do business by yourself or whatever. What kind of resistance did you um, experience when you decided to start your own business?
So, you know, my parents both came from, hard youth backgrounds, but when I tell you they built themselves up to be amazing, and hard just meaning, low income, but they were able to succeed, go to college, get their masters, all these things, built their company. My mother worked for the federal government, so they did things the I don't want to say the old school way, but just the way that they were
It is
taught.
old
Let's
school.
just say,
Mhm. Right.
okay, they did
I,
it the way they were.
and you're fine. You are totally fine. So go ahead.
They did it that way, and so you know, and that's all good. And my father's an entrepreneur, which is kind of the crazy thing to me. Why he's the one who probably had the not probably who had the most resistance to it. He was not happy when I told him, and my mother, she just one day I just decided I was like, you know what? Let me tell my parents that I'm leaving because I don't want to live a lie. Like that's not who I am, and I didn't want to like be coming over their house and just having an awkward conversation when I'm not at work and they're like asking me about work and it's like, but girl, you're not working and having a fake conversation. I was like, let me just come over there and tell them what's going on. But I didn't want to plan it. So I just came over and I was just like, hey, you guys, I just want to let you know I'm leaving my job. And I was like, I do have a
Boom,
plan.
chakalaka, right? The heart drops, right?
Yeah, like I didn't even kind of like massage it. I just like dropped the bomb because it was no need to massage it because it was no need. I had actually written my resignation letter, maybe a month or so before that. I wrote my resignation letter before. So when it was time for me to resign, I didn't like have this whole going back and forth with myself or, fake writing it. So just having it written was ready to press send and, just being prepared. So I wanted to get all my everything aligned. But my father, he acted like I was a 12-year-old telling him I was pregnant or something. Like it was just like you would have just thought the
From what
world was
I'm
about to end.
hearing, he would have been happy to hear that you were pregnant versus, you know.
Maybe, I don't know because he went off. I was just like, I just sat there though. I couldn't give it any energy. I couldn't like, I had to be very, just very, I had to stand in my truth. I knew this is what I wanted. I knew this is what I wanted to do. And I am a very emotional person. So I had to go in there with my whole armor. I had to go in there protecting myself because, if I let the Pisces Arndreya, the emotional Arndreya get in there, I could just become a wreck. So I just came in there strong, like, David. Like I just came in there very, very strong. And that worked. And so my mother, she was just like, well, because my father was going back for about an hour, back and forth for about an hour. My mother just finally said, she said, Marcus, she's just telling us, she's informing us, she's not asking us. And she was like,
Amen. Right?
yeah. And so, he got upset with her too. He was like, well, are you in on this too? You're in on it. And she's
You
like,
know?
no. She's like, actually, I'm not. She was like, but at the end of the day, we have a big house. And she was like, and we have food and her car is paid for. So she'll be okay.
Oh, so you were living with your parents at the time, or?
No, but my mom was just like, well, if all else fails, if she has to sell her house, okay, she can sell her house and come live with us. Like she was just saying,
Oh,
there's a
we have a
backup.
backup plan.
Yeah, she's like, she's not going to be homeless on the street. Like, it's not like, life is going to be over. Um,
And how old are you?
so
Do you mind me asking?
no, I'm 36.
That's awesome, right? And so this is a great time to you know, look, most first of all, you're already successful, but I mean, most people fall forward, right? So, but you already had, I mean, it's better to fall forward at a young age, right? Because I started having businesses when I was in my 20s,
Mhm.
and I fell forward, because I didn't know much. So, um, and had to, both parents were entrepreneurs. And it was interesting. I sense I know where your dad's coming from. And I'm not defending your dad. I'm just saying I know where he's coming from. When you're running a business, it's not easy. And it seems like glory. And when you make it to the top or you're becoming successful, people see that, but they don't see all the work that goes into it. They don't see the grueling nights. They don't see getting up early in the morning. They think, "Oh, you don't have a boss anymore." Well, now everybody's my boss.
Yeah.
And so for us, like starting a business, my husband and I had started it before I met him. But the irony is I incorporated my business before I met him on his birthday.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh. And I'm like,
I
"Ooh,
love that.
uh-huh. All right." So um the The issue is that people don't know that you have to have an expert that understands web development and what does SEO looks like, and then what about your relationships? Because really, at the end of the day, you can have the best SEO and you can have even the best product, but if you don't have relationships where people trust you enough to buy, it's hard.
Mhm.
So, or can be, and then the context of the last few years when people were not allowed out of their homes, how are you gonna build a business, right?
Mhm.
Talk about the body images, if you don't mind, and what that struggle was and why you did this.
What was the last part I didn't hear?
Talk about, yeah, I'm still getting my voice back. So, talk about the body images, like the body image issue and what that looked like for you, and, like, at the beginning, the middle, now, like, all of that.
Okay. Um, I will start at the beginning. I was gonna start at the end, but I'm gonna start at the beginning. Um, so as a child, I was probably a little bit heavier than most children. Now I'm probably the size of the average child now, or back then, because I grew up in the 80s. And I used to think that I was so big. Like, it's laughable now when I think about it. I used to think I was so big. So I was about 8 years old or so on a fad diet. It's like, what 8 year old? How do you even know about a diet and what it is and all of this stuff? I wouldn't eat food. I used to hide food. Like, it was crazy.
You would hide
um,
food. What do you mean you would hide food?
so if I wasn't supposed, well, if I thought it was like a bad food or something like that, or I thought it would have too many carbs, I would hide it or I would throw it in the trash or something like that when I was on my diet.
Oh, when you were on your diet, okay.
Mhm.
And so you'd hide it so you wouldn't see it, or you'd
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah, so I
interesting.
wouldn't eat it, or so I wouldn't eat it. And, but hiding it, I would likely come back at some point in time to come back and get it. These are like packaged foods, but, if I wanted it, but, just trying to get it out of sight, kind of out of mind type of thing. But this was because I was on a diet at 8 years old and it was very up and down. People used to tease me for being big, and I can't say that it really, well, no, it did get under my skin because obviously I wouldn't be on a diet if I didn't believe that. And so I just kind of had a lot of issues going back and forth about my weight. And when I got to college, I realized I was like, you're normal size. Like,
Mhm.
what? what are we, why are you even, having issues with this? But then when I was in college, I was assaulted and attacked, and raped. And so then I went into some just issues just in general, with confidence, with self-esteem, with beauty, with weight. All of those things kind of just took a toll on me. And so I kind of went downhill from there. But after going downhill, I kind of went on some more fad diets, and you know, that was just a story of my life. But upon just having an awakening and respecting and honoring myself, like I remember I used to get out of the shower and I would like not even look in the mirror, even though I would have, I mean, a huge mirror, like a wide mirror. I would close my eyes and wait until, I got out in front of the mirror and to put my towel on because I didn't want to see. And these images, these are things that people have told me and people have made lots of comments. And you should just be mindful. And I just say this to all of your listeners: be mindful to the things that you tell people, especially children, because these things will play a part in their life. And people probably said these things in a joking manner, but have no idea how they truly affected me for years on out.
There's such truth to that. But I'm going to give you the opposite. Um, where someone said something to me as an 11-year-old that impacted me in a way. And it wasn't about body image, it was about my religion,
Mm.
but which is part of your identity. So her name is Sherry. She goes by a different name now. She's an artist. And I was born Jewish. I converted to Christianity in 2018. And but here I was, a little Jewish girl, moving from a very Jewish neighborhood in Highland Park, Illinois. And I moved to Barrington Hills, Catholics on steroids.
Okay.
So I get to there, and her mother, Sherry's mom, said when she found so Sherry and Ruthie walked down the street to meet me, like to find out who the new little girl was on the street, right? So they come to see me, and we get on just fine. And the next day, Sherry comes back and says, my mom said I couldn't play with you because you might have horns. Right? Like, because Jews have horns. Right. So, but I told her what to do with that, she said. At 11.
Oh, wow.
I told her what to do with that. So I haven't seen Sherry since high school. So that was like 80, 81, right? Until last weekend. And I saw her and I said, because she had her art gallery and we now live in the same state. And I told her what she said. She goes, I don't remember that. And I said, I didn't think you did. I said, but it changed my life.
Wow.
Right? Because somebody at 11 years old, told her mom where to go. And her dad.
Well, yeah. The
And
power of using your voice.
together, and we had fun playing with the dogs. And she's like, yeah, Ma, no, I'm whatever. Right. And so a lot of times, when you talk about how the judgment that people have for what we look like, the religion, our skin color. And I was very Jewish in a Catholic neighborhood. And there was one other family in this, it was lily white, right? And there was one other family that was, Black. And I said to this person, I said, I get only maybe 10 seconds more than you before they choose, right? Because they were judging him on skin color and me on my mouth, right? Right? Because because I had a lot of Jewish innuendos. And
Mm-hmm.
as I opened my mouth, there was judgment. And so it's about, a lot of, what I'd love for you to talk about is how do you stand in your power, love your body where it's at, love yourself, your religion, your color, your weight, your everything, right? Because God made you perfectly the way that you are. You're,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the gift that you are to the world.
Absolutely. And so I don't think I've ever really had an issue with with my color. I had, I grew up in a mostly African American community, and when I went to college, I went to a Black college. But although I grew up in an African American community, I went to a very diverse high school. We had people from all different religions, all different cultures. Um, so we never really had like you know, upper echelon. Like everybody kind of had money, but it wasn't like nobody played these like racist games or anything like that. So I have honestly been, I don't want to say blessed because
Oh,
racism
yes.
is real, but I've been sheltered
Oh, you've
per
been
se.
blessed for sure. Blessed for sure. No, I would say blessed. I mean,
Okay.
because I mean, because it's a real thing. I mean, my father grew up in an Italian neighborhood, and so again, being a Jew, right? So
Hmm.
that was not pretty.
Yeah, I laugh about it now, but I didn't realize, and I say this lightheartedly, but I really didn't know that being black was something different in a sense of like treatment until going to college. And New Orleans is a little bit racist, so that's kind of where I got my wake up call about, oh, there's like true racism, because I would hear about it, I knew about it, I knew about slavery, I knew about all these things, but nothing was blatant in my face until I went to New Orleans.
Yeah,
So,
and so and that's awesome that it was not blatant in your face, right? Because
mhm.
no one really needs that. And we actually have a caller. It's 714-337. And so we're gonna take that call and see what the questions are. Hold on one
All
second.
right.
Oh, and it's 8:30, so we have to go to commercial right after. Hold on. And thank you for calling Self Cell Care. And what's your name and where are you calling from? Oh, and they just dropped. I think that maybe they didn't want to talk and they put their hand up by accident.
Okay.
That's so funny. It's okay. You can call back. Just don't hit the one. So, but if you
Don't
do
be
have
shy.
questions, you can. So let me tell people how to call in. So if you want to call into the show and ask Arndreya a question or myself, it's 515-605-9325. And then you press 1 to speak. So and we'd love to hear your stories about body image or things like that, or what um y- you know have you started your own business, and was what was it that inspired you, and what would you like to ask Ray about, what her lessons are. um so this has been quite a journey for you. So what has kept you grounded? Or we should go to commercial. Sorry, because it is 8:30. So let me quick
Okay.
commercial, and we'll just do that first. Here we go. Hi, I'm Jodi Suson with Suson Essentials. I started Susan Essentials in 2015 because of a personal health journey. I was over-medicated and put on 19 different medications. And yes, I reversed all my chronic diseases using plant and energy-based healing. It was amazing. At Susan Essentials, we support both consumers and businesses, and we do that with helping your employees or yourself with a food as medicine mindset. How Susan Essentials supports businesses and consumers is we teach people about a food as medicine mindset. So we support people on how to support their own immune system, how to support their brain health, how to support their emotional well-being. And we do that all with plant and an energy-based healing. Oh,
Jodi Suson of Suson Essentials was misdiagnosed and nearly died in 2013. Instead, she chose to reclaim her health using plant and energy-based healing. After losing 92 pounds, she now offers the psychologist and doctor-recommended functional food program, focusing on two things: toxic-free living and the connection to our brain health. Suson Essentials re-engineer what health looks like with a self-paced functional food program, now available to you with plans starting at just $99.
Okay, and then we'll just do this one last.
Did you know your cell phone emits EMF radiation that negatively impacts your brain's DNA? Because your cell phone is something that you have to use on a daily basis, it's about time you take measures to keep yourself safe from the harmful effects of EMF radiation. The Altera 5G EMF neutralizer does just that by converting your cell phone's incoherent EMF to coherent EMF, giving you 100% protection from harmful EMF radiation. So what are you waiting for? Get your Altera neutralizer today and help us create a more biosafe world for everyone. To learn more, visit www.altera.com.
Okay, so we are back with Arndreya Price. So hopefully she can get her screen back on. So we'll just do, okay, so we'll remove her right now. So I want to talk about a little bit, since it is the week of Thanksgiving, gratitude, and I also want to talk about programming. And so for the one part of this, I want to show a video about Don Miguel Ruiz. He talks about authenticity. So I'm just going to play that real quick so that it's about a 2-minute and 20-second video. And I think it's about understanding the programming, what's real, what's not. And so let me just go here. Let me just do that. Let me go. Oh, shoot. So I just kind of messed that up. Okay. Okay. So there we go. So he talks about, let me see if I can get that, about authenticity. And we can only know who we really are when we allow ourselves to let go of the stories we've created to define ourselves. With faith, we can conquer fear and jump into the unknown, which leads us into a journey of awareness, truth, and happiness. And I felt that this kind of resonated with, what you, um, hold on a second. Andrew, can you still not hear the audio? My husband's saying he can't hear the audio.
I couldn't hear it either.
Really?
Hmm.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed his mouth moving. That's hilarious. Well, we hope that doesn't happen on the next video that we show. So that's really weird. I've not had that before. Okay. And so let's go back. Let me just have them in here. So what were the greatest lessons on your journey here, Arndreya?
That I have everything that I need inside of me. I just have to believe it. A lot of the times, people say, "Oh, you can do it. I believe in you," and all of this stuff. Well, that's great, but one, sometimes people just say that because that's what they're supposed to say. But you can feel their energy. You know that they don't believe that. And at the end of the day, I mean, not to be funny, it doesn't matter whether they do or don't believe in you. It really doesn't matter, because I have to believe in myself, and I have to know that it's possible, and I have to accept these things or whatever the thing is, and I have to do it. So it doesn't matter about external circumstances, situations. I have to be the one to rise up and do it. But the things that I need are already inside of me. So I just need to do it.
Well, and Andrew here is saying, he says, as Arndreya mentioned earlier, the beliefs we have of ourselves can be driven to a large extent by what others tell us. Self-love is critical, but many of us fall short. What do you advise people?
I always say this, and I say it. I'm a Christian, and so I definitely believe that family is very important. But sometimes family will give you a negative view and image of yourself, and so sometimes I think it's important to set boundaries about who you allow to speak to you, especially in certain seasons in your life. Like, I do believe you should be in relationship with your family, but sometimes you might just have to put them on a boundary and teach them how to treat you, because the
Hmm.
messages that you allow come into your circle, your area, those messages can leave scars that are so deep, and it could be only 10 minutes with somebody, and it's just like, no, you need to go back and analyze that circle. And I include friends in this, because some friends you might just have to drop to the side if people are negative, if they're speaking negatively about you in your life and even them in their life. Sometimes it's a good time to take a pause on that relationship.
So it's interesting. You spoke something that I teach all the time. We teach people how to treat us, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We train them. We tell them exactly what to do. We tell them how by what we accept in terms of their behaviors, right? And if we continue
Mhm.
accepting a behavior that we don't value, and we don't say anything, and we go to silence, what are we teaching them? Teach them it's okay.
Right. Absolutely. And it's funny, once I started doing this, I realized that people fall into place. They truly do.
They
And
fall
as
into
much as,
place. You're
yeah,
saying,
I mean, they fall. Yeah, they fall where they're supposed to fall. Exactly where they're supposed to fall once you teach them. Like, originally, I thought, oh, I was going to lose people, but no, they just kind of started treating me the way I needed them to treat me.
yeah, yeah, right. Because you can't be a stand for, let me back up. I teach about living by your highest values. Are you familiar with Dr. John DeMartini?
I am not.
So Dr. John DeMartini is one of the contributing authors to the book The Secret. And
Oh, okay.
and I've been studying under him since 2018. Taking a lot of his coursework, worked with him personally. And we have an opportunity to live by our highest values. And every time we're not living by our highest values, we feel off balance, right? Off center, meaning we're a little irritable, but we don't know why. And, maybe you agreed to do something you didn't really want to do. You made a compromise to something it really wasn't a compromise. You're still giving too much. Or you're working at a job and they're not paying you what you need to be paid, right? That's not, yeah. So I launched the debit card program for the United States, and I got paid half the salary as the man sitting next to me.
Wow.
Because I was female. And so by accepting the role and going to work every day and working, and by the way, they took away my team. So I had to work not 40 hours a week. I was in order to launch the program for the United States and on time, I ended up working like 80 hours a week to the point where I was nearly sick and dead. And so I became an expert at teaching people how to treat me the wrong way. My fault, right? I have to own that. It's not their fault. I'm the one who agreed. Also about so I'm not saying the story and no one should have pity. Like no one should have, oh, poor Jodi. This is not the story. The story is I had to own my own shit. This was my responsibility. I had to step into it and I had to know my own worth and then choose to be paid my own worth. And it took me a long time for that because I had self-limiting beliefs about what women were allowed to be paid. And it was really interesting though, because I had good mentors. And as a 13-and-a-half-year-old, I started working at a bank in Barrington, and all the executives were women. So I didn't have a belief system that women couldn't, have great positions, but I never equated it to the cash flow. No one ever talked to me about cash flow. So, and and there was this silly thing about making your age. Did you ever hear about that when you were growing up? You should be able to make your age, earn your age. No. So if you're 18, you're making $18,000 a year. If you're 30, you should be making $30,000 a year.
Well, I'm glad that's not a thing.
It was a thing
any longer.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, crazy, right? Because that tells you can't be anything more than your age. Like that's a program that you don't need. So, so we were going to ask this question: what has kept you grounded through your journey? What is,
spending time alone and honestly honing in on that, like the circle I talked about. There was a season of I guess this was the pre-journey, where I didn't know, how you just talked about doing uncomfortable things, feeling uncomfortable. I just really had my mother, my close friend, who I call my accountability partner, slash sister. And it was just us and God, me, those two and God. And that was my circle and myself. So during that time, I was able to spend a lot of time alone. I was able to spend a lot of time praying, spend a lot of time getting to know myself, getting to honor myself, getting to respect myself. And during that time, that set the foundation on my grounding. on how I operate now. And so now, I've let people back into my life. Now, some people, they stayed on the outs because I just did some understanding and soul searching and understood that they're no longer good for me. But that foundation set the standard for me going through a lot of this journey, even before the journey started. So after I like left the job and did all of the things, I was able to continuously spend time alone, spend time with God, and kind of just getting peace and staying peaceful.
And so everyone has their different ideas about where they connect with God. Did you feel like you had to go to a church? Could you do it in the forest? Could you do it at home? Or all of the above?
So all of the above, but although like I grew up in church and I love church, um, when I actually built my true, like when I say my true relationship, like my non-surface relationship with God, when I like knew who he was and truly felt him, I actually had stopped going to church. And it was because at first I was going to church to kind of check it off the boxes, like, okay, yeah, I went to church, but I just came home from the club and then I changed my clothes, took a nap, and then got dressed and went to church. Like, and then that was all the God that I had, for the week until the following Saturday or Sunday. That was my life. But I didn't have a true relationship with God. I was just checking off boxes like I went to church. Okay, so I'm a good human. And so I know we laugh at it, but it's true. And when I stopped going to church, that's when I got to know who God was because I was seeking him daily. I was in the Bible on a daily basis. I was understanding who he was, and I wasn't just listening to someone tell me who he was. And I really love the church I go to now and that's Alfred Street Baptist Church in Virginia,
Mhm.
because my pastor, he doesn't tell you what God is telling you. He wants you to decipher. And I think a lot of the times pastors or ministers, bishops, whatever, they want to tell you, but we all have our own relationship with God. Like, Jodi, it may be a sin for you to wear short dresses, but I may be allowed to wear short dresses. So you have to have your own relationship
Your
with
size
God
may be
and
smaller than
determine.
mine because mine might be simple.
Like, you really, I mean, we're joking, but you really have to have your own relationship because things that are not in the Bible can still be a sin for you. So you have to listen to God and see what he is telling you and how he is directing you. And so I believe that having that relationship, that foundation, that time away, it really helped me get my relationship with God and being able to hear and know his voice.
Well, and to be able to hear and know his voice. How do you know his voice?
So I'm a hard-headed Christian. I'll just be very honest, and I'm working on that. God is working on me. But typically, I'll be like, God, should I do X, Y, and Z? And he'll say yes. Like, I'll feel him say yes. But I'm like, I don't feel it. Like, I need to hear it again. So then a topic on the radio may come up. And then, I may be talking to Jodi later, and then, you'll bring it up, and then I'll be like, well, okay, well, I guess, I can't, I can't deny it because typically he'll talk to me in threes. Um, and so when I feel that and I know that, it's like, girl, you have to listen to him the first time. You can't. You're getting a little bit too old in your Christian walk to need three times to know, because you just don't want to do it.
Oh, and so it comes out. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it. So for me, how I know his voice, I ground, right? And I center myself, and then I bring in the Christ white light. And I feel the love of Christ and my spirit guides in my heart. And I don't even ask questions until I feel that.
Mm.
Because if I feel in something different, I don't know who I'm talking to. Somebody can masquerade as God, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you are a feeler and you can feel, you can't masquerade feelings. They're too real.
You can't.
You can masquerade a voice. Clear cognizant can be masquerade. You can mask that. You can mask the voice. You can mask a lot of things, but you cannot mask a feeling, which makes it really tough to trick somebody who's clairsentient, because you can tell all day long. So they're lying. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. And when I feel God, it's a sense of peace. Like there's not this whole back and forth. It's like a sense of straight peace. And my mind is not going back and forth. And typically it's not something that I have to rush. A lot of times, people like, you need to make a rash decision. Well, typically when it's God, I don't have to make a rash decision.
No, you don't. It's on God's divine timing. I love that. I love that. It got really cold in here.
Same here for some reason.
It's spirit. Spirit's here. That's why. You got cold over there too at the same time? It's spirit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was about to grab my blanket, actually.
Me too. Okay. So here we go. I got my blankie.
Okay.
No surprise that we both got cold at the same time. So that's when spirit's really there, right? Because you just can't mask that. And so when you're listening to what he says, then it's there's no question. And I'm a clear cognizant. I mean, I have a clear knowing. I just know. And she said, wait, I'm cold too. Well, honey, you're hearing the conversation. So if everybody's cold right now, we just brought spirit in. So
yes.
honor where you're at, right? He's so funny. All right. So, I knew it. Hold on a second.
Okay.
The hummingbird is back. So I have this hummingbird and also a red cardinal. Hold on a second. Is it? Okay, we got to get the message. He's sitting there fluttering outside my window. I have two birds that come to see me. A red cardinal, and I have a picture of it, and he just sits there and he stares at me. And then there's hummingbird who just flutters right in front of me, and he usually has a message. Now, he flew in and flew out, so we're going to wait till he comes back.
Okay.
It's really, so okay, so did I tell you I have birds or no?
Yes, you did.
So they'll be on the show shortly after break. And they always have messages. I'm an animal communicator. And so birds are my spirit animals. So whenever there's an important message for the world to hear, they'll come in the middle of a show, middle of a meeting.
I love it.
I'm like, all right. She says, Grand Rising, we can't hear your guest voice on Blog Talk. We hear her fine on Facebook. Do you know why? No. That's weird. That's weird. So
I'll take off the AirPods.
Okay. And Andrew's saying it's quite chilly outside for a hummingbird. Well, okay. Sorry. We'll get him a space heater. Okay. I can't tell him what to do and where to show up. She must love the energy. Yeah, probably. So Naima, can you hear Arndreya now on Blog Talk?
Hello.
Yeah. So let us know. And why don't we go to commercial right now anyway, while we're working out that, and give me one sec here.
Okay.
All right. Oh, so what we're going to do, this is a good commercial. This is my commercial about water filtration and why it's so important. So here we go. It's 3 minutes. Give us.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Jodi Suson with Suson Essentials, coming live to you here from Schaumburg, Illinois. We are going to test the tap water and the ProPure water filtration system today. The ProPure water filtration system takes out the VOCs, it takes out fluoride, it takes out chlorine, it takes out chromium 3 and 6, all the prescriptions, and I'm just going to do a quick demonstration to show you that when you pull all that stuff out, it also raises, in addition to doing that, it raises the water to an alkaline state. Cancer cannot live in your body when it's in an alkaline state. So let's get started. So we have to put in, so here's the tap water. Okay. Turn this on. This is ProPure water, which, by the way, it tastes delicious too. And we need 10 teaspoons. You need 1.7 ounces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'm going to clean this off with the clean water so I don't contaminate it. Well, it's less contaminated, right? Because it's still contaminated. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn off that noise. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so what we're looking for, this, it got wet, of course, right? But our water's supposed to be a 7. That's how it's supposed to come out of a tap. And then when it's in an alkaline state, it's healthier for you. And then it, goes from an 8 or above. So this requires that I put in 2 to 3 drops. So we're going to do 1, 2, not easy to get it out, 3. And we're using pH Perfect. That's the testing system we're using. 1, 2, 3. There we go. We're going to stir them both. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So this is a 7. This is clearly an 8. It's actually borderline 8.5. So again, we're taking out the VOCs. We're taking out the pharmaceuticals, chlorine, fluoride, all the other icky stuff that's in there, chromium 3 and 6. Your body cannot feed cancer when it's in an alkaline state. This is an inexpensive system. When you put it for the countertop model, we also have whole house model. Okay, so I cut that a little bit short. We got different ways to help you at the house, but for some reason it's not, you can't hear, the audience cannot hear us on Blog Talk whenever we run any commercial right now, which is a new phenomenon.
Okay.
So yeah, so Naima, if you could, Naima Latif, who's our executive producer. So Arndreya, could you just say a few words, like,
Sure, I will make sure they can hear me.
All right. So Naima can did you hear Arndreya? So we have actually you on, Arndreya, the screen. You have 2. Are you using the microphone from the device that you're? So they're saying they can't hear you. So it's almost like we have, this would have to be added to the stream, the other one. So now speak.
Hello.
Okay. So Naima, can you hear her now?
Can you hear?
Okay. So, come on, girlfriend. Oh, and this is Fela. So hopefully, Naima. So I don't know what to do with. So, oh, I have a way to do this. Hold on. So if we do this different layout, and still no sound of her voice, so only my voice can be heard. That's just really weird. So what we can do, since we're recording this, we'll just upload the recording to Blog Talk. So if looks like we have someone calling in again, 773-366. I'm going to remove this. So if you let's see. Hi. What's your name and where you calling from? So what we can do is upload. Sure, but actually, what we could do is I can just upload the audio later, and okay, and that way we can carry on with the show. Is that okay? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and so we, there's ways. So we're direct connected. We're direct connected as always. Yeah, and I'm not sure why. Is your audio working, Andrea? I mean, it
Yeah.
must, because I can hear you. So why don't we troubleshoot this out? What? Yeah. Why don't we troubleshoot after the show, Naima? Yeah, so it's Blog Talk related. I'll upload it later, but why don't we troubleshoot this after the show? All right, sounds good. All right, thank you. Do you have any questions for Andrea?
I'm here for them. Talk to us about LNO Greek. So LNO Greek is a lifestyle brand, and I want to make sure that women feel.
Oh, one sec. We've got everybody talking over each other. So, okay, hold on. Naima, hold on. Excuse me. Naima, are you cool if we go forward on the show now? Thank you. All right. So, talk to us about LNO Greek.
Okay, LNO Greek is a lifestyle brand for women in Divine Nine sororities and other sororities coming soon. And I want to make sure women feel beautiful and confident. As I told you all, I struggled with body image for so long. And I want to make sure no matter your size, no matter your shape, no matter what, you feel beautiful. So LNO Greek makes sure that women feel that when they wear their Greek paraphernalia. Now, I know people are like, oh, Greek paraphernalia is just a t-shirt. Well, no, that's not actually what my brand is. I have like a more elevated look. I design all of the clothes for the brand because I want to make sure you feel good. as a woman who's, out of college years, a t-shirt is what's going to make me feel good. So I make sure that women have button down shirts, make sure that, they have nice soft materials. Everything is nice and buttery soft so you can feel good, because if you don't feel good, you can't, if you don't feel good, you're not going to execute, to me. And that's my opinion. But I feel like the more you feel better and look better, the better you can execute.
So how did you come up with these designs, and where did you get the background for doing that?
Where did I get the what?
The background for doing that.
I'm a creative person. So I guess I get it from my mama, as they would say. I'm just a creative person. I'm definitely just an artsy person. So I've always loved clothes since I was a child. So that's kind of where I got it from. I've always worn my clothes differently than most people. So it's just been in my system. And in order to execute, it took a lot of work because I'm not a designer by trade. So to design everything, it definitely a lot. It was a true labor of love.
He says, yes, have a look at that. That's amazing. It's the oop for me? What's that mean?
Yes, so that is a special sorority saying. So we don't tell people what that means.
Oh, okay.
So it's a secret.
Okay, so if we go here, if I go to accessories, right?
Yeah, accessories, they just have like our purses on there. But if you go to where it says tops and tunics, that's where you'll see a lot of the things. Like I have a fur vest on there. I have a silver jacket on there. The middle, I believe it's the middle one that says tops and tunics.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, look at that. Oh, that's so much fun.
Yes. And that's about looking good and feeling good.
Yeah. And what's 1913? What does that represent?
Your sorority was founded.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's see. What about your sorority sisters? How did they feel about all this?
They actually love it because they love the feeling of the material. They feel like these are clothes that they could wear and dress up or dress down. So.
Oh. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So somehow Blog Talk, Naima's hand went up and there was an issue with, well, I need to not show that. So hold on. We had an issue with the back end. So stop it. So Faithla has something she needs to share about which is why she's so fidgety. So let me ask her. So what is it that you want to share with Arndreya or the world? That what you saying? Clothes don't make you. Okay. What do you say? Feathers make you.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, really? Don't. So she stopped biting the finger once, once I got her message.
That's funny.
Oh, I hear what she's saying. She says, love your body where it's at.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what else do you want to say? She says she likes the idea that the simplicity around what you've created. It's unique, but it's also simplistic. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So actually, that's part of it. A lot of the clothes in my sorority, and we won't pull up any other Greek brands, they do a lot. Like it's just too much. And I'm of a school like less is more. I feel like you show your beauty through other ways. Like it's not just, the looks, but I believe less is more. And so that's why it was actually made to be simple. It wasn't made to have a whole bunch of stuff going on. I don't like that. I feel like you're trying to call attention to yourself when you do that.
So that's what she felt. I mean, seriously, I can't make it up, right? So is the skirt? Did you make? Oh goodness
No,
gracious.
it's just the purse.
Okay. Okay. So Naima, you have to stop opening your mic, honey. Okay, because Naima keeps on opening her mic and it's messing up our system here. So okay, so we're gonna take that down. So what time is it? It's 9:13. And it looks like we're getting some private dating chat girl opportunities. And Teddy June, thank you very much for blocking them. She's
Oh my gosh.
for goodness sakes. So what is the biggest regret that you have in your life? And I assume it's relative to what you've done here. Why don't you talk to us about that?
I think about that a lot. And my biggest regret is not knowing my worth and my value sooner and moving forward. Like I was always looking for external validation and I received a lot of it. But external validation, one, they won't push you to where you need to be all the time. I mean, sometimes they will, but most of the time they won't. And so if I had known my worth, accepted my worth, I would have been doing this a long time ago and I would have been operating in my fullness.
I'm going to ask you to stop for a moment. I'm going to go to commercial because I need to talk to our
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go to a commercial. We handle these issues. Okay.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jodi Suson. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Host, most of your listeners are not on the switchboard. You don't know who across the world listens to you. So you can't give them nothing just because they're not watching on Facebook.
Okay, you're now live. So you're live. You're telling us.
Did you know your cell phone emits EMF radiation that negatively impacts your brain's DNA? Because your cell phone is something that you have to use on a daily basis, it's about time you take measures to keep yourself safe from the harmful effects of EMF radiation. The Altera 5G EMF neutralizer does just that by converting your cell phone's incoherent EMF to coherent EMF, giving you 100% protection from harmful EMF radiation. So what are you waiting for? Get your Altera neutralizer today and help us create a more biosafe world for everyone. To learn more, visit www.altera.com.
Jodi Suson of Suson Essentials was misdiagnosed and nearly died in 2013. Instead, she chose to reclaim her health using plant and energy-based healing. After losing 92 pounds, she now offers the psychologist and doctor-recommended functional food program, focusing on two things: toxic-free living and a connection to our brain health. Suson Essentials re-engineered what health looks like with a self-paced functional food program, now available to you with plans starting at just $99.
Was it echoing now? I don't think so.
Another commercial. Okay.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jodi Suson. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Okay, I'm going to mute you now.
So
I
can hear.
Naima, we're live, so we're not gonna do this now.
Okay, so
Bye-bye.
we're doing it. It's work.
Okay. Not conversations we like to have live. So, never had this before. This is very interesting. Okay, so let's see. Back to I am off beat. So, who can benefit from your story about, I apologize. I've never had this happen.
It's no worries. As you said before, the people who are supposed to hear are going to hear it, and it's going to be all good. So we're going to operate with that. But honestly, anyone who is battling with their self-worth, their value, these are the people who can resonate with my story, who can benefit from my story. I say, one, learn who you are and operate in the fullness of who you are and who God has called you to be. And do not shake from that. Don't allow external forces, external people, anything external, because maybe I won't name them all, but operate in your true self and knowing what you're supposed to do and go for it, because God will provide. He will give you the things that you need in order to let your true self come into fruition. And I just say this, you can't operate in your fullness until you do what you are called. Most people are called to help serve some population of people. So until you find out who you're supposed to serve, just do things randomly. Don't do businesses for money. Don't do it because one is not going to be fulfilling. Find out who you're supposed to be helping.
Well, and that rings very true with me, right? So when you know what your mission is here, and all of us is different. It's not supposed to be your mission is not your neighbor's mission.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not your best friend's mission. It's not your mom's mission. It's not your dad's mission. And it may not be your husband's mission. It may not be your wife's mission, whatever, fill in the blanks. But you have to know who you, she's, Teddy's like, truth. And she's, Zelda says, thanks for being so transparent. And Zelda also says, so Zelda's our Monday morning host. She is our stressologist. She has grand rising, beautiful queen sisters. No regret here. All part of the learning process. When we know better, we can begin the healing process. It's a lifelong journey.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's when we're trying to live by someone else's values, that's their mission. And one thing I've been trying to teach a friend of mine, and he hasn't figured it out yet. He keeps on trying to serve others what they want. I'm like, no, you gotta serve you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you serve you, that's when that's when you start to blossom, right?
Mm-hmm.
When serving you, that's also serving God. And I will say that there's caveats to that, right? Because some people who are self-serving may be only self-serving, like you said. If you're in it only for the money, then it's going to come to a crashing halt at some point in time. However, if you are serving you, meaning living by your highest values, living through Christ, understanding that what you're doing in the world is impacting, to make a difference, that's serving you. That's living by your highest values. And it's also serving God, and it's also serving the community.
Absolutely.
So, so did you see how Teddy spelled your name? I think she meant it as loving, and whether it was meant, first of all, Teddy's an amazing soul. It's almost like, well, it's spelled incorrectly, which the beginning, but the ya is like, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's how I interpret it, because that's how I know her. So, okay, so there we go. So let's, we've had more commercials than I know what to do with.
All good.
So talk to me about, this is really what I want to talk about. The biggest regret in life, which you said was not living by your highest values. How did you get there? I know you said you did a lot of prayer, but who did you study, like, other than the Bible? I mean,
honestly, myself. And I know that sounds crazy. I turned off the noise. Instagram. I turned off the TV. I got to know myself. I can't even sit up here and say, oh, I read a whole bunch of books, because honestly, the Bible was my most important book. But I spent time alone analyzing, do you like this? Do you like that? Are you happy when people treat you like this? Are you happy? Like, really just getting to know myself down to the core and understanding, like, what have you done, or how would you want to be treated? Just really kind of down to all the basic questions to myself. And so that was really who I spent time with, was myself.
I can get that, because when I was disabled, which was for almost 4 years, I had a lot of alone time, a lot of quiet time. And this morning, I was listening to Oprah Winfrey on iHeartRadio and her podcast. And I used to listen to Oprah every morning. She was a ritual for me. She represented, a woman for me who overcame mediocrity, who wouldn't let other people tell her what to do, lived by her heart, still lives by her heart. And so I was, she was talking about gratitude. And so, and how you can manifest everything with gratitude. And so, which is how I've lived my life. And I'm actually going to play this video, and God help me if you can't hear it.
Okay.
Give me a thumbs down if you can't hear it. Okay. So, but it's a really good, short video. It's 2 minutes and 46 seconds. And it says what Oprah knows about the power of gratitude. It's one of her life classes. So let me just see if I can share that this morning. We are just having issues. I can't even share a screen, apparently. That's really weird. Okay. Well, I don't know how that's supposed to work. So let me go to commercial while I figure this out. Give me one moment, please. We will do this one. Hi, I'm Jodi Suson with Suson Essentials. I started Suson Essentials in 2015 because of a personal health journey. I was over-medicated and put on 19 different medications. And yes, I reversed all my chronic diseases using plant and energy-based healing. It was amazing. At Suson Essentials, we support both consumers and businesses, and we do that with helping your employees or yourself with a food as medicine mindset. How Suson Essentials supports businesses and consumers is we teach people about a food as medicine mindset. So we support people on how to support their own immune system, how to support their brain health, how to support their emotional well-being. And we do that all with plant and an energy-based healing. Okay, so this is really weird. I guess you cannot, the screen share function is now gone. So I'm actually just gonna see if I can play this anyway. You hear that? You cannot hear it. It's odd. So what she talks about whenever you are, oh, and there's the present button. It's now here. So let's see if we can do this. All right. So let's see. Can you hear that? So what she's saying here is about focusing on the one thing that you're grateful for. So focus on your breath, focus on the small things. And it's really an important message because with gratitude, you can manifest a business, you can manifest a boyfriend, you can manifest abundance, financial abundance, you can manifest anything that you want. And let me just stop the screen share on that. So do you use gratitude as a way to manifest what you're looking for? I know we talked a little bit about attitude and respect around it, but
Maybe not in a sense of how Oprah uses it, but I do thank God for the things that I have. And a lot of the times I thank him for my breath. I thank him for allowing me to walk, to have use of my limbs. So I do use that, but not, I have to go and see exactly what she's saying to see if that's how I use it. But I definitely thank God for the little things. I know a lot of the time we want the husband, we want the millions, we want all of these things, but I'm thankful for, like you said, the small things. And those are the things that I oftentimes thank him for, because a lot of the times we take those things for granted.
yeah, and I think it is like that's really so important. I like the focus on the small things, right? When I was studying under Dr. John D. Martini, and we're focusing on the things that we're grateful for, people forget. What about, I mean, like all the gifts that you got, like the fact that you had a meal every morning for breakfast growing up,
Mm-hmm.
having the gratitude around that. And, a lot of us, we grew up privileged. Some of us did, some of us didn't. But for those that did, and even for the ones that didn't grow up privileged but still had a meal every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's stopped comparing ourselves to our neighbors and just having gratitude, pure gratitude for the gifts of a hot shower, the gifts of the air that we breathe, the gift of waking up that morning,
Mm-hmm.
another day. And so I think that when we operate with gratitude, like for instance, the blog talk's not working, right? The way we want it to be working. Well, I'm grateful that StreamYard is working. And when we're done with the show, I can download the audio and upload it right back. Like I don't have to sweat the small stuff. And when you sweat the small stuff and worry about something not working, and then the attention goes to that. And we take the attention off of what really matters.
Absolutely.
And we could be reactive to the fact that Blog Talk's not working, but instead we can respond. Let it be where it needs to be, right? You download the audio, you put it up, everyone can hear it. Like, we don't have to go into this fight or flight mode and wig everybody out. Just be. And so I think it's a huge lesson that we had today on the show is how do you choose to respond or react to a situation that you're being faced with? Are you going to, start creating chaos? Or are you going to go with the flow? Are you going to make the fire worse? Or are you going to douse it with a little water? And I think we have choices every single day. And I think that's really what the message is. What's your choice? How do you want to respond or react? And what do you want to do with that?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're growing a business like you have, those are the choices you're making every day. Are you not?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what are some of the struggles that you've had in your business?
One, knowing how to show up. And I say that because even so small down to emails, like I wouldn't send emails if they weren't perfect. And I realized that it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. I need to show up for the emails. When you send emails, you make money. You don't send emails, you don't make money. Point blank, period. So me getting hung up on if something is capitalized, something like at the end of the day, I have to help me do it. I just need to let her do it. And my time should not be wasted on, I won't say wasted, but my time should not be utilized on emails when I have somebody to do that. And I just need to trust her. And at the end of the day, if an email goes out with something incorrect, give or take spelling or something like that, it's not the end of the world. Life goes on, I promise.
Right. And if the links aren't working, though, and people can't purchase, that's an issue. But if there's a typo, look the other way.
Right. And I used to get hung up on that and I would go crazy and I just wouldn't. So I was like, you know what? No, we're not sending any emails. Well, there were no sales. So I had to get it.
Well, that was a lesson for me too, a similar lesson. So everyone's always like, oh, don't spam me, don't spam me, don't spam me. And so they look as an email as spam, but it's really not. It's content.
Mm-hmm.
So I never sent emails. And as soon as I started sending emails, guess what happened?
Sales.
Sales.
Yeah. Who is for you? There's an unsubscribe button. If they don't want it, they can unsubscribe.
And let them. It is okay. Like our list intentionally went down because who we were working with before shifted. So we brought on all these new people and kind of weeded out the ones that didn't resonate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that, because who I was in the past isn't who. Oh, somebody else wants to meet you. Hold on. Tinker, you going to come say hello? Yes. She says, I want to say hello to Auntie Arndreya.
These birds are beautiful.
Thank you. So this is Fagala, who's chewing on the napkin. And this is Tinkerbell.
Tinker.
And they are both rescues. And are you good there, Dolly? And it used to be when I got her, she was not able to fly.
Oh.
And this one was near dead. So they both were healed and using plant and energy-based healing. She's like, look, I can fly now. Is that what you want? That's what she wanted to show. So all things can heal. So, so Andrew is here and he's saying, tell us how you're reaching out to your clients or your prospective clients, because you're working with the Greek system, right?
Yes. Yes. So I am working with them, but I also work with people who aren't Greek as far as coaching is concerned, but I get to them through Instagram, and there's a link in my Instagram bio which allows people to connect with me and figure out about the lifestyle. I want people to realize that, we all, and a lot of people do this, we all set goals in the beginning of the year. My goal calendar is actually, I use the 12-week year. So my goal calendar is a little bit different than most people.
You use a what week year? A 12-week?
12-week year.
What does that mean?
And so I think my book is up there, but basically they're 12, after 12 weeks, that's really considered a year. So I have 4 years in 1 year.
Okay. So quarterly.
Yes, quarterly is considered a year, correct. But a lot of times,
new to me. Keep going.
So a lot of times people set these huge goals. So instead of that, with the 12-week year, like if you want to lose 20 pounds, like saying 20 pounds, that's like overwhelming. Like when you think about 20 pounds, you're like, oh shoot, like this is a lot of weight. But if you say, I want to lose 5 pounds in 12 weeks, that sounds like a little bit more doable. Like, and you can break that down. And so with the 12-week year, you break your thing down into goal, like small goals. So it's like, okay, I'm going to drink water for every meal except my Saturday evening dinner. Okay. And so then you'll go through your little checkbox. You have your Excel sheet and you'll check the things off. And so you can start giving yourself a point system. And you can follow your point system, so you can start to see where you're messing up. So then you'll be like, okay, I'm going to walk 5 days a week. Okay, I walked on Monday, I walked on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I skipped Friday, and I did Saturday. And so you can kind of see where you're doing right or where you're doing wrong, and where you need to make some tweaks for yourself. And so this is the 12-week year. It really just breaks down your goals, so they are so you're not eating the whole steak at once. You're cutting your steak up, basically.
Or chicken.
Or whatever people
or fish eat. Or broccoli, but I love the concept.
Yes.
It's a great concept. And so if you're breaking up the year and you're not eating all your steak at once, if you do need to fail forward, you can do it with greater ease.
Correct. And I just feel like goals, a lot of the times, they are just overwhelming when you think about it in a context of the grand arching goal. I just feel like it's overwhelming. Even as an entrepreneur, I feel like it's overwhelming. A lot of times, even, and as when I was an employee and I can't say I didn't have control, because I did have control. Jodi said, own your stuff. So I did have control, but okay. So I did have control, but maybe I didn't feel like I had. It was truly overwhelming for me. And so to break the things down, it's much more palatable with this breakdown. And I feel like it's palatable for everyone. So if you don't have it, there's a book online, and I can't remember the author, which is crazy because I open the Excel sheet every day, but it's called 12-Week Year. You'll see it online on Amazon. So I would go grab the book or the worksheets if you want offline.
12-Week Year. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I see it. By Brian P. Moran and Michael Lennington. Would that be right?
That should be correct. It's a red book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I'm pulling up its website. And I'll share. And they have a new book out. Wait till you see this.
Okay.
Let me just do share screen, because they just did a pop-up. And what were we talking about? Accountability. And it's called Uncommon Accountability, a radical new approach to greater success and fulfillment.
And I do agree with that.
Me too. Yeah, you have to be radically responsible for who you are in order to make a change and shift where you're going. I love this book. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to order this book myself. Thank you for the contribution. And, in order for you to get, what got you here isn't going to get you there, right? So you have to shift it up. And you have to be radically responsible for the behaviors, actions, and inactions so that you can have the change and in your life that you want, just like that. And is this a friend of yours, Kristen Minikpede? Good morning, or no, not
No.
mine.
Morning.
Maybe could be one of mine. So welcome, Kristen, to the show. We're happy to have you here, and we have the whole board is lit up on Blog Talk, just so you know. So it is working. So that's a beautiful thing.
Great.
And we're happy to have you. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in. You can either leave a message on Facebook, YouTube, or you can raise your hand and we'll open up the mic for you and you can ask a question of Arndreya. So, and if you want the number, if you're already on the board, you know the number to call, and you just press 1 to speak. And so what I'm going to do here is, here it is. So if you are watching on YouTube, if you want to call in, it's 515-605-9325 and press 1 to ask your question. So, and to find Arndreya, you can go to Instagram. It's at Arndreya on Instagram, and you can connect with her there and follow. And so you also do retreats. Tell us about that.
So the retreats, excuse me. So the retreats are to teach women how to love themselves. And I focus on women a lot of times. Like guys are like, well, we need to learn too. Well, I am supposed to serve women. So I don't know. Maybe there'll be a counterpart when I get married. I don't know. Or maybe someone who will come and help the men. But I'm supposed to help. No love lost though. But teach them how to love themselves. A lot of the time, women wait for men to do stuff for them. And for me, it's not about that. I love myself the way I am. I love myself. I treat myself and I honor myself. No matter what's going on in my love life or what's not going on in my love life, I give myself flowers. I take myself on trips. I have a monthly spa date with myself. And so I don't wait for anybody else to show me love. And I think a lot of the times women, they wait for other people to show them love, and they give love to other people, but they rarely give love to themselves. And I don't know why, but I'm breaking that and I'm showing people how to love, how to love themselves.
So I love that. So that's such a beautiful, and first of all, I'm going to back up for a second. Kristen, welcome to the show. She says she's friends with my hubby from high school. So we are really grateful that you tuned in, and we're just really grateful. So thank you so much for taking the time. So loving yourself is huge, and that's why the name of the show is Self-Cell Care, because you got to love yourself, right? Self-care and your cells that make this body bag that we were given, right? I call it the body bag. Oh, stop. So we have in our house, when I wake up in the morning, I meditate before my feet even hit the ground. I love myself by preparing a smoothie that's so nutrient dense, it would send, anybody to the moon and back, right? So, you got to support your own immune system.
Absolutely.
We also have a concept called the place of peace. And it's a multimodal approach. It's almost like deprivation because you're wearing headsets that emit a white noise.
Mm-hmm.
And the white noise puts the brain in a theta state, which is a state of calm and creativity. And you're just like, you're in your own world. And we pair that with pulse electromagnetic frequencies. And we pair that with the frequency of love, 528. And we pair that with specific essential oils. And on. And it's 20 minutes. And when you get somebody off the place of peace, they're like, how many hours ago was that? Because they feel like they've been sleeping for 8 to 10 hours in 20 minutes. and it's transformational. And so we do that here. We do the Beamer every day. We do the BOD every day. We probably do the peace sessions ourselves probably twice a week, you know. And so there's an opportunity for us to give ourselves more self-love, right? Because there always is. We're never doing enough. And we don't necessarily go out and do the spa days, but we created a spa home.
Whatever works. And I know people are, oh, the spa's expensive. Light a candle, get in the bathtub. I mean, the spa day doesn't have to be like super expensive. You can do whatever you need to do for yourself.
So, and I love that too, right? So we, in the bathtub, add your Epsom salt, add your lavender essential oil, or if you're been exposed to trauma, bergamot essential oil, right? Because bergamot's really good for helping you to release trauma, or frankincense, which puts the brain in a theta state and meditative state. Light that candle. I encourage you to make it a beeswax candle and not soy or any other, toxic thing. If you want to learn about that, you can just reach out to me later about how to reduce your toxic load. And I would also say put on the 528 hertz music. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, my therapist uses it.
Yeah, right. So my therapist did not turn me on to the 528. I have a good friend of mine, my husband and I, Tinkerbell's enjoying breakfast. A good friend of mine, his name is Rajai Kaldani, and he's a frequency expert. And he came over for Christmas in 2019 when we were living in Illinois, and he brought up frequency, the 528 hertz. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. And that's when the place of peace came together, because God said, okay, now you have all the pieces. Now I want you to bring everything that I've shown you, bring it all together and give people peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so we think peace starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, go to spas, go to, wherever you're called to go to, because you may need to get out of the house to do this. That may be very important to you. We created it in the house. But I feel like sometimes you have to get out of the house to shift the energy. It's probably how you feel, is get close. It allows you to shift the energy, get out of your work mode and all that.
Well, yeah, but I can get peace, honestly. I won't say anywhere, because obviously you can't get peace some places, but I'm open to getting peace in multiple places.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, we like to get peace just by going to the forest, sitting outside and meditating, although it's a little chilly right now.
Yeah. I really I think you asked me before, like, how do I know God is real? Like, when I go into nature, especially the beach, it's just, this is absolutely phenomenal. How could you deny that there's a higher being? It's
Right.
like, I just get taken aback every time I'm on the beach. I live in Maryland. The beaches here are not really that nice, but still, I mean, I love going to the beach to see the beauty of God.
I'm with you. The beach, the waterfalls, the mountains, you go to those places and it's, look, I know there's some people who just don't believe in God, and actually some of those people are more Christ-like than the people that do, but
that's another whole episode.
Show. Right?
Yeah.
But the point is that when you look at Fagala, look at the beauty, right? Tinkerbell. When you look at the mountains, when you look at the trees, when you look at the fact that every leaf is distinctly different and every snowflake is too. How is that not God?
Exactly. It couldn't have been us, because we don't care about each other enough. I mean, it's truthful. I mean, we don't, or some people don't. I mean, I care about people, but most people don't. So, whoever created this had to really, really, really care and love us. And so I say that to say, when I went to go see the eclipse, I believe it was in 2016 or 17. I can't.
Those one in 2017 for sure that I know.
Okay. I tell you, I'm like, if anybody doesn't believe, like, I went to see it in South Carolina. I'm like, if you have any doubts about God, you needed to be here, because I just felt like your life could have been changed, because it literally went pitch black in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm. I remember that I was working at a chiropractic company in 2017. So, and I took time. I parked in a parking lot and paused and was present for the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell you, you and I are just getting to know each other. We didn't have too much time to chat prior to the show, and I was sick, so I didn't even get on a video with you. But I wanted to speak my truth.
Please do.
You are a bright light, and I think we're just getting to know the soul that you are, which is so beautiful. And I love what you've shared with us today. And despite the technology issues, you stood strong. And what a perfect demonstration of a classy woman that you are, classy soul.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Really.
I do.
And so if somebody wanted to reach out to you, they can do this on, let me go back to the banner. They follow you on Instagram. Is that right?
They can follow on Instagram, and then there's a link on my Instagram in which it says "Like No Other Lifestyle," and you click that and you will be taken, and I will get your contact information through there, and I will reach out to you.
That's wonderful. And so are you expanding to other Greek, talk about your expansions, if you don't mind.
What did you say?
Talk about the expansion that you're doing.
So right now, I currently serve Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and then I'm adding AKA SG Row and Z5B within 2023. And probably once I get that all situated, we will be moving into the other sororities. I don't have a timeline for the other sororities as of right now, but that is the goal.
Okay. And that is just completely delightful. And so you mentor other women. I really feel that that's such an important part of your journey. It's not just the clothing and giving people the ability to dress lovely, but easy and comfortable, right? But also to redefine themselves and who they think they are, not based upon what someone told them they had to be.
Exactly. You don't have to fit in the box, and it's okay, because you weren't meant to fit in a box.
Mm-hmm. Any last words? We have 4 minutes, and really not even that, because I have to run the ending. But what's your last words?
My last words is, people get peace and that, life is great, but you have to continuously work on that peace, that self-reflection, self-joy, all of the things that you think you've conquered. You have conquered them, but you have to continuously work on them. It's kind of like once you lose weight. Well, if you start back to your old habits, you'll go back. So just remember, it is a journey. It's not a stop. It is a journey. So yes, you did conquer peace, but you have to keep working on your peace.
Yeah, that's a really important message. It's such an important message. It's not a stop. It is a journey. I lost 92 pounds, but and I kept it off for years, and then gained about 20, 25 pounds more when I moved from Illinois to Georgia, not because I changed my eating habits. It was my stress.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually don't eat when I'm upset. I stop eating. but the cortisol levels are so high that my body holds on to everything that I do eat and
Mm-hmm.
stores it in my fat cells.
Yeah.
And so you have to understand your own body. Now, it's not the same for everybody else's body, but it is that way for mine. So my next part of my journey was, how do I manage my stress levels so that my body's happy? So it's such an important message that you gave. This is not a, it's a journey. We got 90 seconds. Okay. Let me read the ending. And I'm so grateful for you coming on the show, sharing, your journey and sharing your wisdom. You're a young woman with an old soul.
I love that.
Yeah, love having you here. And thank you to our listeners. We have so many on Blog Talk. The whole board's lit up. Thank you to our new listener, Kristen, today. We're so grateful. Teddy, Zelda, Naima, and and my husband. Can't forget my husband. Most gratitude of all to him. I'm so grateful. And again, follow Arndreya Price on Instagram and connect with her there. And if you are interested in learning more about Suson Essentials, you can schedule your free consultation, Jodi at SusonEssentials.com. And my number is 847-738-0242. We have lots of neat programs going on and lots of sales also right now. Water filtration systems, ways to neutralize your electromagnetic frequencies in the home. And then I have ways to teach you divine intervention, divine. So with that said, and we've got a necklace. Mhm.